into recording, and you have a studio and everything. Now, do you remember, besides Los Bravos, right? You as Victor Arzu, do you remember who did you record with first?
Uh, who did I record with first?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it was Eduardo Ballesteros
Okay.
for arranging and recording,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was MC Records, Mario Cotto.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, with some mixes for the Silver Star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
then and probably had a few things going on and off during that time. Yeah.
So what was the process of doing a recording back then? Because as we could see in the background is, the computer and the
Yeah.
monitors and the mixer, and that's just like
Oh yeah.
that's the new and easy way.
This is like the new and fake way of making music. I call it fake because I still miss those days of recording with tape. The big mixing consoles and all
Yeah.
these outboard gears. You really had to be like a genius. Now
Yeah.
now I feel dumb working with this stuff. you know. But
It's
it's all beautiful. It's the modern day, so it's okay. You got to stick to it.
Yep.
You know.
So
Yeah.
what was the process of recording a song and then transferring it to like a cassette? Like, because I know that was the way of music coming out. It was either LPs or cassettes.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
that process, how it is that nowadays you can come, you can call me in the morning and say, listen, now, I got this song that I want to work on, and then you come, and then just between you and I,
Mm-hmm.
we'll pack up an entire song or an album.
Yeah.
So in those days, you know, aside from arranging the song, they had to be rehearsed,
Mm-hmm.
and then after they're rehearsed, then you have to bring the group into the studio, connect everybody, you know, do a couple of passes, with rehearsals,
Mm-hmm.
taking levels and all that stuff, making sure and then you have to, record that on a tape machine. You either had an 8 track, a 16 track, 24 track tape machine, and then all of that information will be, recorded onto the tape machine and played back for mixing. And in the process of mixing, once you got your mixing and everything sounding the way you like it, and then you had to transfer that onto a mix down tape machine or cassette deck,
Wow.
or into a mix down desk, and then for the client to listen to it at home, then you would record it onto a cassette,
Okay.
for them to go home, listen to it, analyze it, and say, oh, maybe we need to change something. Then you bring whoever has to, let's say, for instance, the guitarist, thinks that he can improve his performance on the recording,
Mm-hmm.
then you will bring him back and then, change that.
Okay.
So, it was a longer process,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, that was the analog era.
Yeah.
That was like the true era
And
of,
I
of
think
making music.
and I think it still got a little advanced there because what I used to hear, I never experienced it, but I heard about groups recording at the same time,
Oh yeah,
and whoever messed up, you have to start all over.
that's right.
So you telling me that if the guitar player messed up, he can come back and fix that. So now, what was the difference of that? The difference of the group, like, did it have to do with the kind of session that you book?
Well, let's say, for instance, the recording is done,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you get home, you know, the guitar player, you as a producer or the leader of the band, the director,
Mm-hmm.
the guitarist calls you up. You know what? I mean, I think I can do better. You know, then you will bring him in, and then he'll just do his part.
Okay.
But you will not lose the groove because you playing to the band.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you playing
Okay.
to the band. Nowadays, what you do, you take a drum machine, you program a beat.
Mm-hmm.
You let the beat loop, and
Yeah.
then the keyboard player comes, he does his thing,
Yeah.
and then the bass player comes, and then you do the congas. So there is not like uh, a relationship in terms of the feel, the groove,
Yeah.
to what you're playing.
Exactly.
You know, it's just that one guy is playing to a drum machine, and then the next guy is playing to a drum machine and the keyboard that you already recorded. So there's not a communication,
Yeah.
you know, and that when you playing live, I mean, you're looking at the bass player, you're looking at the drummer, everybody's like moving, they're grooving, and then all that stuff gets transferred
Yeah.
onto the tape machine. And then whatever you record on the tape machine, when the audience listens to it, they also feel the energy, you know. So in those days, it was really nicer. Like if you listen to the Motown recordings in those days, I mean, you can get you can feel the groove. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're losing most of that nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just making it easy because I was calling Tito for him to come and record some keyboards for me, but he says he can't make it today until next week.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I don't have Tito, but then I say, okay, let me call the conga player. Now the conga player comes in and play. Where I
Yeah.
wanted Tito to come in first.
Mm.
All of that affects the feel and the groove of the production.
Yeah.
You know.
That's very true. And that makes sense. That's why a lot of groups recorded as groups.
Yeah.
And if it was a solo artist and he had a band, the band recorded.
And there were more potential hits, at that
Yeah.
time than now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can go to a studio, pack up a song, record a song, produce a song, and then tomorrow release it. And then next thing you know, 5 days later, nobody wants to hear it no more
Yeah.
because there's no soul to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, it's nice. You can dance to it, but your subconscious mind is telling you that it's garbage.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, that is the real. That is real.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Now, another question I have, right? How did once your name started buzzing and you have this recording studio now, how did you deal with recording for almost every artist? Because VA Records or Victor or produced by Victor Arzu or mixed and mastered by Victor Arzu is on every cassette tape that you can think of from the 90s.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with that? Like how
Well, you had to schedule yourself, and you had to like organize yourself, and it wasn't always easy because then you would have to work at night. You wouldn't have your lunch at the same time. You wouldn't sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time. And you had to be disciplined, and then you also have to discipline the others. You have to say, listen, you have to be here at 3. There are guys that will book time and not show up and not even call. No show, no call. And then I will tell them, listen, when you book a studio time and you don't show, you know, your project is costing me money. Because then I'm not working with you and I'm not working with the other person that wanted to come at that time. So I'm not making a dime with you, and then I'm making a dime with the other person. So therefore, your job, your work is costing me money. So you have to, you have to talk to them. You have to tell them that it's more, much important for you, for them to show up on time. Yeah. Timing is the factor. Discipline is the factor.
That's very interesting to hear. I love how you answered that too, because it's just like, man, it's common sense. It's just like, all right, if one doesn't show up at all,
Yeah.
then the other one, you already told them that you had something to do. So and then when both don't show up, of course it's costing you money.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Wow. Okay, so we know about the studio, the studio stuff. You going to school and everything. So now, I know you for being the director of one of my favorite groups from the '90s.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Grupo H.
Yeah.
Yes. So how did Grupo H come about?
With Grupo H, I used to sell the guys, their equipment.
Okay.
And then I would go to their rehearsal and set it up for them. And then on the weekend, sometimes I would go and do the live sound engineering for them.
Hold on. So you weren't an original Grupo H member?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I wasn't.
Okay.
Grupo H was already established when Salomón, Finado Salomón, Charlie Santana, the drummer, and Cubas, came to speak to me and said, "Listen, we're having some problems with the band because our horn players, are no longer going to be with us, and then we need a director, and then we need to uh, improve, the environment in the band, So I was like, okay, let me think about it, Then they came. Once I went to lunch. I was at the Sam Ash store in Queens. We went to lunch to a Chinese restaurant. I think it was a Japanese restaurant next door.
Okay.
And then we spoke there. I said, okay, we'll do it, but first I need to know, if you have any contracts, for this year. So Salomon, broke out this calendar with all these dates on it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I'll, so I joined the band. The problem was that we didn't have any horns no more.
Okay.
So I decided to sequence the horns.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I told him about the idea of sequencing. Yes, okay, yes. I was like, it's a machine where you record the horn parts and then you play along with that. Then you wouldn't have the physical horns, but you have them, recorded and then, reproduced through a keyboard.
Okay.
And then, like on the first rehearsal day, it was very difficult, for the guys to keep up with the fixed beat,
Yeah, because it's not like you don't play the horns for when they come in. It's like you play the whole song first, and then the horns come in after. But that's the part, like, you got to be ready for it.
Yeah. So you really have to know the form of the song, and you have to stick to it, But after that, after a couple of passes, the guys got familiar with it, and then, they got the feel of it. And then next thing you know, everybody was like playing to the sequences like, it wasn't even there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that we started from there. And then there was a problem with Grupo H that in the Garifuna community in New York, we weren't like quite accepted.
Okay. Wow.
Because everybody was saying, Grupo H es un conjunto para, los chumagunos, decían, and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I had this idea. I told Salomon, you know what, maybe we should record an album, release it, and then start promoting.
Yeah.
I told him I would, put the arrangement, I will put the songs, but you guys gotta, put the cash for the studio time. I didn't have a recording studio at that time, but I had a pre-production setup at home.
Okay.
Which consisted of a computer, a drum machine, and a couple of synthesizers and stuff like that. So I was able to prepare the arrangements at home and then take it to the studio and transfer that onto tape. And then record the vocals, the congas, and the rest of the stuff. Mix it and master it. So that's when we did the Libanya Baba, Migir Unubanya.
Okay.
And then I threw in a couple of my ballads and stuff like that. We started to promote that here in Honduras.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I told Salomon, I would have to go to Honduras, visit the radio stations, the nightclubs, and give them the music to play, because through there. Wherever we have Hondurans, they could be in Germany, they can be, they pretty much, get the data or the information of, as to what kind of music it's playing in Honduras, and they'll digest it. They'll get it.
Okay.
So that's how we pretty much got spread.
Okay.
And then I also called Mario Cotto for him to include 4 of our songs in La Batalla de la Punta, La Guerra de la Punta. Yeah. So he did. And then through that, we kind of spread up, through the entire United States and the nightclubs and stuff like that. And so that's how we was able to get out of New York, and also as well, being accepted in New York at the nightclubs.
Okay.
and then be able to charge like a decent price, you know,
Yeah.
for our
so
performance.
Baba did that for y'all.
Oh yeah, you
Okay,
know
okay.
those songs, Libanya Baba Nugura Nadari Meriga, those songs,
Okay.
which I composed.
Yes, I heard about that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you know, it was a great area. You know, the Grupo H just like kind of blew up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And then through that, he became like the icon for the rest of the bands in New York.
Wow. Yeah.
Even though we had, you know, Garifuna Kids on one side, you know, we had I think Satellites. I think it was on the other side.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So before, all right, if I'm not mistaken, right before I was scrolling through Facebook, and I think I seen a cover of a Grupo H tape. But if I'm not mistaken, I think this was before Libanya Baba, because I see Kelly Mena on there.
Oh yeah.
I think that's before Libanya Baba.
That's
right?
before Libanya Baba, and then on that production, there was a song Lambada, Punta, Lambada. I did that. I did the arrangement, and then I did the translation from Spanish to Garifuna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then that was like my contribution during that recording, and then during the mixing of the project, I was there also in the studio with them mixing the project. But that was all my contribution to it.
Oh, okay. It wasn't something that was fully that. Like, did you mix that tape?
I mixed.
You did? Okay.
I co-mixed it because there was an engineer at the studio.
Okay.
You know, Anthony Roberts, which is Anthony Roberts was the second. Was one of. I'm not going to say second because there was not a first and a second. We was the two assistant engineers at the recording studio, Latin Sound Recording Studio, during that time.
Oh, okay.
And then he started work at that studio, and then from time to time, I will go to that studio and do some work there also.
Oh, okay.
As a freelance engineer.
Oh, okay.
Because I worked as a freelance engineer, I was like bouncing all over the place, Long Island, Brooklyn, Manhattan, you know, Queens, Staten Island, you know.
Were you driving at those times?
most of it was like the subway. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't start driving until like 2005.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't even have a driver's license until 2005. I was a Montunito in the Bronx.
No, but that's because you didn't need to. That's because you didn't need to drive.
Yeah.
Okay. Montunito is funny.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So you guys do Libanya Baba in 1993, and I know this because you know the tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when y'all do Libanya Baba, there's only 3 of y'all on the cover, and y'all was a whole group. Was there any specific reason for that, or that's just what y'all had? Y eso fue lo que se fue.
That was something that I learned from a lot of international groups, like mostly Dominican groups, like La Gran Manzana and stuff like that. I remember there was only like 3 guys, three main guys on the. And then not only that, it was also the availability of the musicians, you know, to come for a photo session.
Okay.
You know, so I was like, okay, God do Cavo and I.
Yeah.
You know, and we did that, and it worked.
Yeah, because it's cool. You know? Because it doesn't even feel like anybody is missing, even if you know it's just still like that's good.
And then the great part of it is that the other guys didn't even mind.
Okay.
You know? I mean, because I was lucky enough to be surrounded with people with no ego at all.
Wow.
You know.
Okay.
And then I didn't have the ego, you know, either. Because you know, and another thing, you know, when Cavo did his solo album, Cavo called me up and said, you know what, you know, I want to do a solo album. I said, yeah, fine, go ahead. You know, let's put it together.
Yeah.
You know. And I looked at it as a convenience to the group.
Yeah.
Because whatever songs, you know, that might be successful of his, it's also going to be beneficial to us.
Yes, exactly.
Because he's our lead singer, and then chances are that we're going to play those songs live, you know, on stage, and then we're going to get more followers through them.
Yeah.
You know, so you always have to look at the positive. Oh, no, este man que quiere grabar su disco solito, no me gusta eso.
Yeah.
You know. it can't be like
It
that.
wasn't like that at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Hmm.
You know, Liso, you know, wanted to get his computer, his stuff for recording. I helped him out.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
Okay.
I had a few gear at home and said, you know what, if you want, take this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go ahead and do your thing.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear some of Liso on the not some. I hear a lot of Liso on Cavo's first album.
Yeah.
On like I don't know if it's the arrangements or the style of it.
Well, he did the arrangement.
Okay. Okay.
He did the arrangement after he did the arrangement on at home in his did he use a computer? I think he used the computer and then he came and we transferred it
Okay.
onto tape and then I from there I took it. I
Oh,
took
okay.
The
Okay.
entire process
Oh, okay.
after that. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So going back to Grupo H real quick, Libanya Baba becomes a success,
Yeah.
right? That's in '93, and then the year after that, y'all come out with another tape,
Yeah.
Punta y Mas,
Punta y Mas. Yeah.
1994.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of videos. I feel like in 1994,
Mm-hmm.
something new happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I see videos of 1993,
Mm-hmm.
it still feel like you're watching something from 91 or 92.
Yeah.
But in 94, something happened that the world was just new and improved, and it felt like a new era.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how was like, do you remember much of 1994? Because I know you put up the certificate on Facebook of from Sam Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had commented like, hey, that's the same year that you guys came out with Punta y Mas.
Yeah.
So how was that? How was the success of that album after already having the success of the first one?
Well, part of it was the experience from making the first material, how difficult it was,
Yeah.
and then how you had to find a road
Mm-hmm.
into concluding
Mhm.
a successful first material.
Yeah.
And then on the second one, you already had the experience, from the other one, and you already knew, what to change.
Okay.
And then on top of that, in so little time, there was already new technology. Like Libanya Baba, some of the songs, I had sequence on the computer,
Okay.
on my first sequencing program,
Okay.
right, with a small, Mac
Mm-hmm.
computer, 512 computer.
Wow.
And then on the second one,
Mm-hmm.
not only that, that I had only a pre-production system at home.
Yeah.
I already had a full recording studio at home when we made the second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there was more time,
Yeah.
to dedicate to the material, being that I didn't have to move no equipment, or I didn't have to gather a whole bunch of people to go to the studio at the same time to work on it.
Okay.
Most of that was pretty much done by myself.
Yeah.
The entire album was practically only me and Cavo.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so there was more, access, immediate access, to just open the studio door, jump out of the bed, open the studio door, and go and modify something.
Yeah.
Rather than taking the subway and going to Queens or Long Island, or whatever
man.
studio was available,
Okay.
and then carry those tapes, to go and do something.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you definitely did have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because there's a hook that you have on that album that I plan to sample it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one of the best hooks I ever heard.
Yeah.
And that's that,
Yeah.
man, yeah. So everything you just said, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, yeah, you had time. You had time.
We had time to do that. And Cavo, I would call Cavo. Cavo, there's something that I want to modify. Cavo, come. And then the good thing is that it's in the making of that record, I was able to print the cassette and then give it to Cavo for him to go home and rehearse it.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Okay.
and then say, what, whatever idea you can come up with, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
So Cavo will come in and say, okay, and then we'll do like multiple takes.
Okay.
Because then I can record his voice on the computer and then, start modifying and moving things.
Oh, okay. Oh, in the
Yeah.
90s you was doing
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
I
Wow.
was able, because in the 90s you was already, Pro Tools now.
Yeah.
Pro Tools before Pro Tools became Pro Tools.
Mm-hmm.
It was Session 8, and then before Session 8 it was Sound Designer 2.
Oh,
which was a
okay.
2-track recording
Yo, this
software.
is history right there. I didn't
Yeah.
even learn this on Google. Okay, so that's
Yeah,
before
yeah.
Pro
There's
Tools.
there's a
Okay.
lot of things that you won't find in Google.
Yeah. I'm hearing.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you won't find on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then there's many things you can find in YouTube that are untruth.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not even close.
Exactly. All right. So the second Grupo H tape, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. Now that I'm here, I always laugh at the picture, right? But I
Yeah.
laugh at it. I laugh at it because of the. Not that it's funny, but I just laugh at it like on some like, yo, they was on fire. Like you see that they buy. I think y'all like somewhere in Manhattan on like a boat.
South Street Seaport.
Okay, yeah, y'all there, and everybody got the blazers
No shirt.
with no shirt on it, bro. What's that about, bro?
It's crazy, you know. I mean, crazy. You know, those are. You know what? In the music field, you have the music, like we said before. You have the musical satisfaction part of it, and then you also have the marketing part of it.
Okay.
And then on the marketing side, you have the impact.
Yeah.
You know, the visual part of it, you know, has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, you have the musical part, you know, and then you have the visual part, you know, you have the marketing part,
Yeah.
you know. So at that time we try to mix all of that.
Okay.
And that was part of the success of the group, that somebody can call us from North Carolina and they say, we want you for this day. How much is it? It's going to be this much.
Yeah.
You know, it was a very high price, but then they were willing to pay it.
Okay.
You know, and then by the way, you know, at that distance we can only do it by air.
Oh.
And
okay.
they'll give us all the airline tickets. And then say, oh, you know, some groups come over here and we only give them two hotel rooms. I said, no, we need 4 or 5. They'll give them to us. And then we have a bailarina. In some groups, you know, they will put the bailarina with like the rest of the, you know, group members. And it was like, no, our bailarina, you know, takes her own room, and they'll give it to us.
Oh wow.
You know, so they'll give us, you know, like you know, anything that we ask for. We ask for a bunch of things, you know, except prostitutes.
Yo, I'm about to start taking pictures with my shirt open, man. That was a good marketing skill for real.
Oh yeah, you know, I mean, every single material had a marketing strategy behind it.
Yeah.
You know, and then the marketing strategy was like, you know, to increase the value of the group.
Okay.
And then so you can tell that there's a lot of image, you know, even on stage. You know, there was something about our image on stage, and it was very simple. We just didn't want nobody chewing gums on stage. We don't want coats on stage. We don't want, you know, bottles of beers or cans of beers or sodas on stage. We filter out a lot of things.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
that it may not be noticeable for the simple, you know, vision, you know, but that it made a difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wow. That's very, like, it feels good to hear that, because it's just like, man, back in the days, it was very, very different, and almost everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything was
different. You know, the sound was different. The image was different.
Yeah. All right.
The audience was different.
That too. Yeah. That too. I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine.
You have to do things according to what your audience, you know, expects from you. You know. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So I remember. All right. See, now this I remember. Although I was maybe like 2 years old, I remember after your second tape, after Punta Imas, y'all come out with a third album, Simplemente Lo Mejor. And I like the concept of that too. Is you know, it's back to the three of y'all, you, Cavo, and Gadu, and with like a woman in it and everything or whatever. So So what was the process? What was the process of that third album?
Okay, that third album was more like more like a tropical sounding album.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to mix, you know, what it is, you know, the Honduran or the punta side of music with the tropical,
Okay.
you know, because you can hear even on the sounds, you know, you
Yeah.
hear like. So during the process of that recording, I even had to buy a particular synthesizer just for that project. I bought a D50, Roland D50,
Oh yeah. Okay.
because I wanted some tropical sound, like the sounds from the Martinique and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
like you can hear the
Yeah. Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
those sounds.
Okay.
You know
Yeah.
those lines.
Okay.
You know, so I had to create like more um, more of a commercial sound.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
to
Yeah.
the record.
Yep.
And then I included more like trombone sounds, more horn sounds,
Okay.
more synthesizer sounds, and the ballads were like more orchestrated.
Yeah.
It was a different concept, but without disconnecting from the source of the band.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
like you listen to it, you can still tell this group watch
Exactly. From the first one, the second one, to the third one.
to the second one, and one song didn't really like disconnect from the other.
Yep. Exactly.
In all my productions, I try to do that.
Yeah.
And then on the last production that we did,
Sobredosis de.
Sobredosis, just stepping up a little bit ahead to that.
Yeah.
There was two ballads that I had written for that album, and then like a day before going to the manufacturer to submit the master, well, I did go to the manufacturer and submitted the master, and then a couple of days later I told him, listen, have you done anything with the project yet? And he said, no, we haven't print anything. I said, stop. I want you to stop the whole process, because I'm going to submit a new master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I took the two ballads off from that song and I wrote two new ones.
Oh wow. Okay.
I wrote two new ones in like from one day to another, two new songs.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mujer, te he borrado de mi pensamiento.
Yeah.
I wrote that song, and I arranged it, and then I did it. Vida mía, si tuviera todo te daría. And I wrote that one. I wrote those two songs in one night.
Wow.
After writing the songs, I went on to making the arrangement.
Okay.
That same night. And then I went to bed. I slept for like 4 hours. Then I woke up and recorded the vocals.
Oh, wow.
After I recorded the vocals, I went back to bed.
Okay.
Slept for like another 4 hours, woke up, and then mixed the songs.
Wow.
After I mixed them, mastered it, and all that stuff, and that was done. It must have been like on a Sunday.
Okay.
So that Monday, I went to the factory to submit the new master.
Oh wow.
Things that you have to do, and it worked out because I kind of felt that those two other ballads didn't quite fit within the sequence of the
album.
album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So on that album, right? There's a lot of sentimental songs on that album, and all right, the song "Behu Malampu," right? Is that your song?
That's my grandmother's song.
That's your grandmother's song, right?
Yeah.
Because in the lyrics, I hear your name mentioned and your brother and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My grandmother wrote that song. My grandmother wrote two songs, one for my brother and one for me. But I didn't quite remember, the entire lyrics for my song, or the song that she wrote for me. And then I didn't remember, I didn't quite remember the entire lyrics to the song that she wrote for my brother. So, but I just remember pieces of them. So I took those pieces and then joined them on one song. Yeah.
Wow.
Because she says, that was the song that she wrote for my brother.
Okay.
When he was born. Behu Malampu, because at that time we didn't have electricity, so you had to like kind of lit up a candle.
Wow.
Yeah. And so and then the other part, so after my mother died, she said, you know what I mean? So I kind of pieced them out together. Yeah.
Wow,
And-
that's
and-
dope.
And
That's
he
dope.
worked. And he worked.
Yeah.
He worked.
Hey, you know what I love about how you work? That the things that you produce in Garifuna, it doesn't even like look like it, because since I know you as a kid, I always know you to have this rockero look or whatever.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so when you grow up hearing things, I'm just like, what? Victor wrote,
rockero,
my
yeah.
uncle Victor wrote that song. That's his
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
Just like I heard that same thing about that other song Anira Mbungi You Cielo.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, is that composed by you too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote that song because during the time I was starting with my first wife, there was difficulties. I was starting in the music business. My career was just like starting, and then there was always like some kind of financial difficulties and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so I was inspired by that to write the song.
Wow.
I actually wrote that song. The lyrics to that song, I wrote them like within 15 minutes.
Oh wow! Did you have to get it translated, or you actually wrote it how it is in Garifuna?
I'm 100% Garifuna. I
Wow.
can read, write, speak Garifuna well.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
I learned that today.
I mean, there's some people that I have to correct them, with Garifuna, because within Garifuna, the woman has her own, dialect, and then also the man. There's certain things that let's say Nugune, Yagane, So sometimes people come to record with me, and I would like correct them. That's not the way.
Oh wow!
It's this way. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually, before I went to the United States, the language that I dominated the most was Garifuna, and then I was still struggling with my Spanish. Yeah. I refined my Spanish in school.
Okay.
In New York.
Wow. That's great information, man.
Yeah. And then the English and all that. I'm still struggling with my English, but I think I'm quite okay.
Oh man. Yeah. All right.
Grupo H, por ahí lo está. $10, por favor, Salomón. Ok, tenemos ahí Grupo H en acción.